The key to financial freedom is remote sales. And I'm going to get into why I say that in this whole video. That's what this is about. We're going to explain the importance of why you need to acquire the skill of sales, what it can do to change your life. So just to get into the first thing, the reason why I'm talking about financial freedom and time freedom is because you might be making a bunch of money you might be working for a company, but even though you're making a lot of money, your time is still in control by someone else. So you don't control your own time. You still got to clock in, clock out, and therefore you're not free. Like, you've got money, and what I help people do is help them understand that, hey, you don't need to be a wage slave. You don't have to work for somebody else. You can make a lot of money and still have your schedule open to your preferences. So everything can be under your control and you can still make money. And a lot of people don't realize that because we get taught that we need to go work for a company. We need to get a job, go to school, do this and that. But in reality, there's a whole nother side of people that are making a bunch of money every single month, and they're working on their own time. So they choose their own hours. They don't have to clock in, listen to a boss. They are their own boss. So that's why I'm getting into remote sales and why it is so critical that you learn this skill now. Because if you learn this now, you can sell anything and you'll be able to sell for the rest of your life because you acquired that skill. So that gets into our first point is once you learn to sell one thing, you'll know how to sell anything. And the reason why that is because you're not learning how to sell the product or service itself, but you're learning the skill of sales. So you're learning psychology of people, you're learning articulation skills for yourself, you're learning how to remember information while you're also speaking to that person. You're learning a bunch of skills at one time that once you've learned all of it, it combines together and it becomes the sales process, the sales presentation. Once you get that process figured out on what you need to do step by step to engage people, psychologically convey information to them while also taking information back to yourself and processing that as you're speaking to them, and then figuring out why they're here on the sales call in the first place and making them understand what they need to get to the next level. All of that stuff is basically combined into what we call the sales process. And you have to get from the beginning to the end of that process in a particular order in order to make the sale. So that's the whole point of why I say that if you learn that skill, once you learn that skill, you can sell anything. Because it's not about what you're selling. It's about the process that you go through to make people understand the value you're offering to them is what they need. So in my advice, you should go out and get a sales job or go shadow somebody that knows how to make sales, that's been doing sales for a long time. You want to get practice in with this before you start selling things on your own in terms of your own business. You want to work for someone else so that you can build that skill up so that you still have the ability to make some money while you're also learning at the same time. Because if you start a business right away where you're doing remote sales face to face and you're selling a product or service that doesn't belong to a company, it's your own, you're either going to have a lot of social proof built up, or that's really it. Either that or some type of sales background in order to sell that. Because it's not going to be easy for you not having the skill built up of sales, and then you go in, you're trying to sell people high ticket or even low ticket products. Like it's just not realistic. So you want to find somewhere where you can learn how to sell. You want to learn the art of sales, and you want to potentially work for a company for a while so that you can get proof under your belt that you're learning. And the way that you know that you're learning is that you're making sales. Like the sales start to get going for yourself, and then you're getting more confident. Plus you're learning about the psychology of people, how they react when you present them an offer. You're learning a bunch of stuff on the way. You're building up that skill set so that later on down the road, you can branch off and do your own thing. So then once you finally have that skill built up and you can consistently sell people, you know you're on track to be great. You're on track to greatness, because at this point, this is when you start getting into high ticket sales and you start to do things on your own. So now you're no longer with the company. You're no longer under somebody else's control. You have that skill, and now you just have to find a way that you're gonna sell something to people. So this is the next point of why I say remote sales is the key to freedom, because once you're able to sell and you're able to do it remotely through Zoom, the computer, whatever, at this point you can be anywhere in the world and you can make money. Like I could be on vacation, pull up my laptop, make a sale from there. It doesn't matter where I'm at. I could be at home making sales from home. At this point, I get to decide what I want to do. I can sell from where I want to and whenever I want to. When I'm consistently making sales, it's always under my control to figure out my schedule and how much I want to work. So you control your own destiny. Once you have that skill built up, it's up to you to decide what you want to do. Do you want to take sales calls all day long where you make a bunch of money, but you don't have time to do anything else? Or do you want to still make money and also have time during the day? Do you want to sell high ticket? Do you want to sell like mid ticket, low ticket, whatever? It's up to you. All you know is that you're going to close people. You know how you're going to close them, and you've got that skill. It always stays with you. And you're going to need that pretty much in anything you do. If you want to make money online, you're going to need that skill of selling. So whatever you do, whatever type of business it comes down to, more than likely you're going to have to take sales calls, at least to start. So that's why I say remote sales and just building that sales skill in general is the most important thing you can do if you want financial freedom, because you need to be able to sell anything. Once you can sell anything, you know you can make the sale. So that's the whole point of this video, and I will be back with more content.